Regardless of the industry, project management is considered the integral factor that decides the project's future, be it success or failure. With time, organizations are looking out for project management professionals who are talented and hold experience with relevant certifications. This need for project management professionals hasn't changed for a longer time. In the same way that PMBOK has changed certain aspects of PMP exam format. To start with, let's understand what PMP is. PMP stands for Project Management Professional. It is the most recognized certification in the project management domain, and it is valued globally. Nowadays, having a PMP certification has become a mandatory qualification for project management and related job roles. PMP certificate is awarded to the professionals who clear the PMP certification exam and become project management professionals. So, are you planning to get PMP certified to get a great career push? If so, then you have landed at the right place. In this video, we will discuss the PMP exam format that helps you clear the exam successfully. Hello everyone, this is George from Invensis Learning. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Now let us look into the agenda of today's session. Before we start with the PMP exam format, let us outline the topics discussed in this video. First, we will talk about PMP. Then, we shall learn the old PMP exam pattern. Post that, let us know the reason for the PMP exam format change. Then, we shall see the new PMP exam pattern. Next, we shall see the comparison between both the exam formats, and conclude the session by knowing: is new exam format difficult? Before we embark on our journey on the PMP exam format, let me explain to you about PMP. The Project Management Professional, PMP, credential is a well-recognized industry standard for project managers. PMP certification proves that you have the experience, education, talent, and competency to lead and direct projects. The Project Management Institute's PMP credential is the most sought-after. PMI, Project Management Professional Certification, is a well-renowned professional certification program in the project management domain that validates candidates' educational and professional experience. Researchers say that employers need to hire nearly 2.2 million project-oriented job roles by 2027. This implies that the need for skilled project managers is in great demand. With this, there are nearly 1,036,367 active PMP professionals, 314 chartered chapters across 214 countries and territories globally. Also, project management professional certified project managers, on average, earn over 20% more salary than the non-certified project managers globally. And, according to Project Management Job Growth and Talent Gap Report, between 2017 to 2027, the number of project-oriented employees is anticipated to increase in the United States by an estimated 8.8 million. Next, let's move to our core concept of this session, the old PMP exam format. The last PMP exam format was changed in 2015, and since then, it has been based on 5 domains until the new exam format was revised. The previous exam pattern was situational-based, knowledge-based, and formula-based. The 5 domains include initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and at the last closing. The weightage of each domain is as follows. Initiating the project weighs about 13%. Planning the project weighs about 24%. Executing the project weighs about 31%. Monitoring and controlling the project weighs about 25%. Closing the project weighs about 7%. The previous PMP exam format focused on project lifecycle stages as domains, and there are various tasks in each domain. Therefore, the candidate's knowledge was assessed by their domain knowledge and experience based on each domain's tasks, skills, and knowledge. This pattern also had 10 knowledge areas and 42 tasks or processes. This approach assesses the practitioner's competency and determines the salience, criticality, and frequency of each of the information, tasks, and skills required to perform to the industry-wide standard in the project manager job using knowledge and task-driven criteria. This is all covered in the old syllabus of PMP. Coming to the exam details, it comprised of 200 multiple-choice questions covering 5 major domains of project management. The PMP exam questions were formula-based, situational, and knowledge-based. Now let us go through the 5 domains under this format in brief. Firstly, we have project initiation. The project initiation phase is the initial step in transforming a vague notion into a concrete aim. You must construct a business case and characterize the project on a general level at this stage. To accomplish so, you must first determine the project's need and then create a project charter. The second domain is project planning. The project planning step necessitates meticulous attention to detail because it lays out the project's roadmap. Unless you're using an up-to-date project management methodology like Agile project management, the second phase of project management will likely take up half of the overall project duration. The main responsibilities of this phase are identifying technical requirements, building a thorough project timeline, designing a communication plan, and setting up goals/deliverables. Thirdly, we have project execution. Your team does the actual work during the project execution stage. Your role as a project manager is to set up effective procedures and keep a close eye on your team's development. Keeping excellent collaboration amongst project stakeholders is another job of the project manager during this phase. This keeps everyone on the same page and ensures that the project goes off without a hitch. Next, we have project monitoring and controlling. The third and fourth phases of the project management process are not consecutive. Instead, the project monitoring and control phase runs concurrently with the project execution phase, ensuring that the project's objectives and deliverables are met. Lastly, we have project closing. The project management process has now reached its conclusion. The project closure stage occurs after the final delivery and marks the end of the project. External talent is occasionally hired on a contract basis expressly for a project. The project manager is also in charge of terminating these contracts and submitting the relevant paperwork. Reason for PMP exam format change. To stay up to date with the changing industry dynamics, the PMP exam pattern changes every 3 to 5 years based on the survey conducted by subject matter experts from renowned organizations across the world. This time update, the main reason for PMP pattern change is the modification in the job role of a project manager. And that is the main reason to change the course content as well. The second reason would be that the project management is constantly evolving with new methodologies and agile framework, so, to the complaint with the changing industry dynamics, PMP changes were brought up. Next, the reason is that this PMI updation mainly focuses on people and related systems, which are required in this changing everyday environment. Lastly, PMI conduct study updates every 3 to 5 years to keep the exam content relevant to the industry. After knowing the reason for the change in the exam format, let us now understand. New PMP exam format. The new PMP exam changes came into effect from the beginning of 2021, that is, January 2nd, and it is based on the recommendations from the research conducted in 2019. Therefore, having a thorough knowledge of these changes is imperative to prepare for the PMP exam. Let's understand these topics one by one and what steps you need to take to get prepared for. The PMP exam aspirants in 2021 will have to appear for new PMP exam content. The work of a project manager is always changing. The new PMP test, which will focus on 3 core domains, people, and business environment, process, is a clear reflection of evolving occupational needs. Their weightage is divided as follows. People have a weightage of 42%. The process of 50%, and the business environment of 8%. The new PMP exam version comprises 180 questions covering 3 domains. The questions will blend multiple responses, multiple choice, limited fill-in-the-blanks, and hotspot types of questions. The latest PMP exam content focuses on 3 major domains, and this change is based on the need for changing occupational demands. About half of the PMP exam will represent predictive project management approaches, and the other half will represent agile or hybrid approaches. 2021 tasks will be included in the new PMP exam content as well as in the present PMP exam. However, the new PMP test content includes enablers, which is a new term. Now, let's look at the changes to the PMP exam's domain, tasks, and enablers. Coming to domain. It is defined as the high-level knowledge domain that is critical to project management practice. The new PMP test content, on the other hand, will be divided into 3 domains: people, process, and business environment. Then, tasks. The project manager's fundamental responsibilities in each domain area. The PMP exam analyzes each PMP exam candidate's knowledge and experience based on these tasks within each topic. Enablers. Enablers are some examples of work done about the task. They are not meant to be an entire list, rather, they serve as examples of what the work entails. Let's now see the 3 domains in detail. People. As already mentioned, this domain weighs about 42% of the comprehensive exam, and it evaluates the candidate's leadership quality within the project team. A few of the tasks under this domain include The building or leading a team. Managing conflict amongst the team members. Ensuring all your team members are adequately trained. Process. This domain weighs about 50% of the entire exam, as told earlier. This stage involves professionals evaluating the technical aspects of project management. Let's look at the tasks included under this domain. Handling project changes. Integrating the project planning activities. Thorough planning and handling budget and resources. Business environment. This domain drastically holds a smaller percentage, that is 8%, compared to other domains. This domain tests the project manager's capability to adhere to organizational requirements. Some of the tasks included in this domain are: planning and evaluating compliance management, evaluating project benefits and their value to the organization, supports organizational change management. Let's see the tasks and enablers present in the three domains in detail. The tasks included under the people domain includes the following. Firstly, we have manage conflict, that includes enablers like interpreting the source and stage of the conflict, analyzing the context for the conflict, evaluate or recommending or reconciling the appropriate conflict resolution solution. Next, we have lead a team. The enablers included here are set a clear vision and mission, support diversity and inclusion, for example, behavior types, thought process, value servant leadership, for example, relate the tenets of servant leadership to the team, determine an appropriate leadership style that includes directive, collaborative, inspire, motivate, and influence team members or stakeholders, for example, team contract, social contract, reward system, analyze team members and stakeholders' influence, and distinguish various options to lead various team members and stakeholders. The third task is to support team performance, which includes enablers such as appraising team member performance against key performance indicators, supporting and recognizing team member growth and development, determining appropriate feedback approaches, and verifying performance improvements. The fourth task is to empower team members and stakeholders, which includes enablers like organizing around team strengths, supporting team task accountability, evaluating demonstration of task accountability, and determining and bestowing a level of decision-making authority. The fifth task is to ensure team members or stakeholders are adequately trained. The enablers included in this task are to determine required competencies and elements of training, determine training options based on training needs, allocate resources for training, and measure training outcomes. The sixth task is to build a team that has appraised stakeholder skills, deduce project resource requirements, continuously assess and refresh team skills to meet project needs, and maintain team and knowledge transfer as enablers. The seventh task is to address and remove impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team, that includes enablers such as determine critical impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team, prioritize critical impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team, use the network to implement solutions to remove impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team, reassess continually to ensure impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team are being addressed. The eighth task is to negotiate project agreements, that include enablers like analyzing the negotiations bounds for the agreement, assessing priorities and determining the ultimate objective, verifying the objective of the project agreement is met, participating in agreement negotiations, and determining a negotiation strategy. The ninth task is to collaborate with stakeholders, that include enablers like evaluating engagement needs for stakeholders, optimizing alignment between stakeholder needs, expectations, and project objectives, build trust, and influencing stakeholders to accomplish project objectives. The 10th task is to build a shared understanding, that includes enablers such as break down the situation to identify the root cause of a misunderstanding, survey all necessary parties to reach a consensus, support outcome of parties' agreement, investigate potential misunderstandings. The 11th task is to engage and support virtual teams, that include enablers such as examining virtual team member needs, investigating alternatives for virtual team member engagement, implement options for virtual team member engagement, continually evaluating the effectiveness of virtual team members' engagement. The 12th task is to define team ground rules, that include enablers like communicating organizational principles with the team and external stakeholders, establishing an environment that fosters adherence to the ground rules, manage and rectifying ground rule violations. The 13th task under this process is to mentor relevant stakeholders, that include enablers like allocating the time to mentoring, recognize and acting on mentoring opportunities. The last task is to promote team performance by applying emotional intelligence, that includes enablers like assessing behavior through the use of personality indicators, analyzing personality indicators, and adjusting to the emotional needs of key project stakeholders. Now, we shall discuss the tasks under the process domain. The first task is to execute the project with the urgency required to deliver business value that includes enablers like assessing opportunities to deliver value incrementally, examining the business value throughout the project, and supporting the team to subdivide project tasks as necessary to find the minimum viable product. The second responsibility is to manage communications, which includes tasks like analyzing all stakeholders' communication needs, determining all stakeholders' communication methods, channels, frequency, and amount of detail, and efficiently communicating project information and updates. Confirm that correspondence has been received and that feedback has been received. The third task is to assess and manage risks that include enablers like determining risk management options, iteratively assessing and prioritizing risks. The fourth task is to engage stakeholders that include enablers like analyzing stakeholders, categorizing stakeholders, engaging stakeholders by category, develop, executing, and validating a strategy for stakeholder engagement. The fifth task is to plan and manage budget and resources that include enablers like estimating budgetary needs based on the scope of the project and lessons learned from past projects, anticipating future budget challenges, monitoring budget variations, and working with the governance process to adjust as necessary, plan and manage resources. Make use of past data and benchmarks. Prepare a schedule depending on the methodology you've chosen. Based on the approach, track your development over time. Change the timeline as necessary based on the technique, and work with other projects and operations to make sure everything is running smoothly. The seventh task is to plan and manage the quality of products or deliverables that includes enablers like determining the quality standards required for project deliverables, recommending options for improvement based on quality gaps, and continually surveying project deliverable quality. The eighth task is to plan and manage scope that includes enablers like determining and prioritizing requirements, breaking down the scope, and monitor and validating scope. The ninth task is to integrate project planning activities that include enablers like consolidation or phase plans, assessing consolidated project plans for dependencies, gaps, and continued business value, analyzing the data collected, and collecting and analyzing data to make informed project decisions, and determining critical information requirements. The 10th task is to manage project changes that include enablers such as anticipating and embracing the need for change, determining the strategy to handle change, executing change management strategy according to the methodology, determine a change response to move the project forward. The 11th task is to plan and manage procurement that includes enablers like defining resource requirements and needs, communicating resource requirements, managing suppliers or contracts, planning and managing procurement strategy, and developing a delivery solution. The next task is to manage project artifacts that include enablers like determining the requirements for managing the project artifacts, validate that the project information is kept up to date and accessible to all stakeholders, continually assess the effectiveness of the management of the project artifacts. The next task in the list is to determine appropriate project methodology or methods and practices that include enablers like assessing project needs, complexity, and magnitude, recommending project execution strategy. Recommend a project methodology or approach, use iterative, incremental practices throughout the project life cycle. The 14th task is to establish a project governance structure that has determined appropriate governance for a project. Define escalation paths and thresholds as enablers. The next task is to manage project issues that have enablers like recognizing when a risk becomes an issue, attacking the issue with the optimal action to achieve project success, collaborate with relevant stakeholders on the approach to resolve the issues. The next task is to ensure knowledge transfer for project continuity that has enablers like discussing project responsibilities within the team, outlining expectations for the working environment, confirm the approach for knowledge transfers. The last task is to plan and manage project or phase closure or transitions that include enablers like determining criteria to successfully close the project or phase, validating readiness for transition, conclude activities to close out the project or phase. Now we shall discuss the tasks under business environment. The first task is to plan and manage project compliance that includes enablers like confirm project compliance requirements, classify compliance categories, determining potential threats to compliance, using methods to support compliance, analyze the consequences of non-compliance, determining critical approaches and actions to address compliance needs, and measure the extent to which the project complies. Check to see if any benefits have been recognized. For continued benefit realization, document ownership agreement. Check that a system for tracking benefits is in place. Appraise stakeholders of value, gain progress by evaluating delivery methods to demonstrate value. Then, we have, evaluate and address external business environment changes for impact on the scope that includes enablers like survey changes to the external business environment, assess and prioritize impact on project scope or backlog based on changes in the external business environment, recommend options for scope or backlog changes, continually review external business environment for impacts on project scope or backlog. The last task is to support organizational change that has enablers like assessing organizational culture, evaluating the impact of organizational change on the project and determining required actions, evaluating the project's impact on the organization, and determining required actions. Next, let us discuss the exam structure, time duration, and result from the analysis in detail. The new exam pattern comprises 180 questions, and 175 questions will be scored. The other 5 are pre-test questions, which will not be added to the final result. Candidates will get 230 minutes to complete the exam. 2 breaks of 10-minute for computer-based tests. No scheduled breaks for those who opt for paper-based exams. So, you will get 1.2 minutes for each question approximately. Utilize your time appropriately. The result will be determined through psychometric analysis. Each scored question will get you a score of 1 mark, and the final result is obtained by consolidating all the marks. No 2 candidates will have similar questions, so their scores can't be even the same. Since every candidate has a different question paper, the complexity of the question varies from one another. Thus, it is not acceptable to set the same passing marks for all. Hence, implementing psychometric analysis will help the PMI to evaluate the result with appreciable passing criteria. Prerequisites. Before you take up the exam, there are a few essential prerequisites that you need to consider. We have 2 scenarios. Let's see which are those. In the first scenario, the candidate must have 4 years bachelor's degree or its global equivalent, 36 months of experience in leading and directing projects, project management training from authorized training partner with a minimum of 35 contact hours. In the other scenario, the candidates must possess an associate degree, a secondary degree, a high school diploma, or any of its equivalent. 60 months of experience in leading and directing projects. Project management training from authorized training partner with a minimum of 35 contact hours. If you fulfill the above prerequisites, then you are eligible to take up the exam. However, when it comes to 35 contact hours, you can satisfy the requirement by attending coursework, workshop sessions, and getting training from authorized training partner, such as Invensis Learning. After understanding the new PMP exam format, let us now see the comparison between both the formats. The new exam pattern comprises 3 domains: process, people, and business environment instead of 5 domains: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closing, which was present in the old format. And the number of tasks has been reduced from 42 in the old format to 35 in the new format. And lastly, we have enablers. It is a new concept added to the new exam format. It explains the tasks in a much better way. 50% of the questions follow the predictive project management approach, and the rest will follow the agile or hybrid approach. To test the agility of the candidates, the new exam pattern comprises more scenario-based questions. Next, in the old format, the proportion of exam questions was divided as follows. Initiation 13%, planning 24%, executing 31%, monitoring and controlling 25%, and closing 7%. Whereas, in the new exam format, we have the proportion as a process 50%, people 42%, and business environment 8%. After comparing both the formats, let us know if the new PMP exam format difficult? With the new domains, format, and agile approach in the bulk of PMP test questions, it might be particularly difficult for students taking the exam for the first time. However, PMP certification training or boot camps that PMI has approved as a recognized ATP can assist you in overcoming these obstacles. As already discussed, the new PMP exam now focuses on 3 new topics. They are business environment, which involves enhancing the connection between the organization's strategy and its projects. People, that includes upgrading the skills and activities involved with leading a project team effectively. And the process entails improving the technological resources essential in the management of a project. The revised exam also includes a 230-minute exam time limit, the same score for 180 questions, and a mix of the hotspot, fill in the blank, and multiple response questions. From the looks of it, the new PMP test will be a little more difficult than the previous one. Another important aspect to note in the new PMP exam format is that nearly half of the PMP exam is based on a predictive project management approach. The rest represents the hybrid and agile approaches. If you think that the PMP exam will become easier to crack with fewer domains, then you are wrong. With many new topics and methods in PMBOK 7th edition, there is every possible reason to cover all aspects with wider breadth with the increased complexity of the exam. Hope you got a thorough understanding of all 3 domains as per the new exam pattern. So, how to prepare for the PMP exam? Given the complexity of the certification exam, there must be a good learning path to obtain the certification. While studying for the PMP test, a candidate may encounter 2 major challenges. First, the exam format is complicated, and study material is extensive. To overcome the obstacles above, a candidate should set aside some time to prepare, as the passing percentage for first-timers is lower because most of them cannot make time for preparation or take it too lightly. An online preparation course offered by PMI authorized training providers is another option for a planned preparation. This can also compensate for the 35 hours of project management training. So, how to find a good training platform? We can help you with this through our Invensis Learning training course, which is a PMI authorized training partner. If you are working to gain PMP certification, Invensis Learning paves the way for all your training needs as an authorized training partner with PMI. We make your PMP exam preparation much easier than ever. Whether you are an aspiring professional or a team leader, Invensis Learning will upskill your knowledge. They have everything covered with PMBOK 7. Invensis Learning is a PMI registered authorized training partner program to provide a 4-day instructor-led PMP certification training course. We also provide ample benefits to its learners. Let's see what are those benefits one by one. Instructor-led certification training programs. Industry-driven case studies and mock tests. Highly qualified, certified, and accredited trainers. Success rate more than 99%. 35 days after completion of training. To become a PMP, you must meet the PMI's eligibility criteria of 35 contact hours. Personalized LMS with unlimited access to course materials. Access to project management webinars conducted by domain experts for the rest of your life. With this, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you were able to understand thoroughly about PMP exam format. I want to highlight that clearing the PMP exam entirely depends on your hard work and determination towards the goal. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll to get your PMP certification today at Invensis Learning, and step up your career in the world of project management domain. Wishing you all good luck with your exam. Happy learning! For more updates on trending technologies, subscribe to Invensis Learning YouTube channel. Also, if you have any queries, share them with us in the comments section. Have a successful career ahead. Thank you.